Hello, fellow Ivy students, and welcome to another video of Ivy Resumido. Today, we're going to be talking about mainly growth and evolution of businesses. I'm going to lower my microphone volume a little bit because I believe that's a little bit better. There you go. I think you can hear me better now, or at least at the volume you guys normally hear me. There. I like it there. Okay. So, what are economies and diseconomies of scale, which is the first topic? Economies and diseconomies of scale are something really interesting. Economies of scale are when you produce more and it lowers the cost per unit of your product. Example, actually, pretty good example. This stickers, I'm gonna be selling them for a project I have, and this stickers normally cost a lot. Like, well, not a lot, but if you see it on Amazon and everything, you normally see it like about maybe half a dollar per sticker, or 1/4 per sticker of a dollar. Like, yeah. Or in Mexican pesos, you normally see them at about 10 pesos per sticker. So it is a lot, but and it normally costs a lot to make them. But if you mass produce them, like you produce, I don't know, 10,000 of those stickers, it lowers the cost because you have heavier machinery, heavier everything. So the average cost is normally the total cost divided by the quantity. So if you do 100 stickers and it costs you $1,000 to make 100 stickers, then the average cost it's about 10 per sticker. But if you make maybe 10,000 stickers and it still costs you like $100, well, then they're sorry. If you make yeah, no, if you make if it costs you $100 also, but to make 10,000 stickers, then each sticker it's going to be like what? I don't know. I think I messed up my math there, but the average cost is normally the total cost divided by the quantity of the items you have. So if I sell this stickers at $100 and they are only 10 stickers, then each sticker will be $10. That's the average cost. But if I have more and like the price still gets down, it's normally seen there in sales when you produce more things. It's normally cheaper to do that. Same thing goes for food. Normally food is expensive, but mass producing food is not. Or like the iPhone. The iPhone is a product that is very cheap to make, but not individually, of course. So yeah, that's how a business can earn profit by basically by selling a product that is normally more expensive, but since they're mass producing it or producing it more, they have an economy of scale. Actually, I think it's called a producing economy of scale, where they lower the price for them and sell to a higher price, earning profit. There's two types of economies of scale. There is internal and external. We all know what that means, right? At this point, internal means that it happens inside of the business and is in the business control, and external is outside of the business and outside of the business control. Pretty easy, right? There are some internal economies of scale, like technical for machinery, financial for money, managerial for managers, of course. It's more like workforce and I don't know, more knowledge in managers, and specialization economies. It's workforce. It's more that one's more workforce. There's also marketing economies, purchasing economies, which is the one I was talking about, the stickers. Normally, sometimes if you buy one sticker, it will cost you like maybe half a dollar. But if you buy 100, it probably costs you like what, $10 to buy 100 stickers. So that happens when the more you buy, the less it costs. That's the example I was giving you for purchasing economies of scale. And then there's risk-bearing economies of scale, which is a diversified product portfolio of a product that spreads the risks. Then there's external. Some examples are technological, which is there's more productivity in technology in the industry. There is transportation, and there's an abundance of labor. Maybe you do not control that there's a lot of people in the area where your business is has their headquarters or their factory, and you don't control that. But if you have them there, and since they're already there, it costs you less to pay them to work at your business. Maybe you're gonna have an economy of scale because there's already a lot of people there. Um, there's also these economies of scale, which is the opposite. The more you produce or the more you have, it means that the more it will cost. So, uh, economies of scale, more you produce, less it costs. This economies of scale, more you produce, more it costs. Easy as that. There's some examples. For example, that the rent increases in some areas. That's external, of course, because you don't control it. But then employees are going to start demanding more money because they have to pay for what they have to pay, and you're not giving them enough money. So there's like that diseconomy of scale. That's external. There's also internal, which normally are problems between workers. The more workers you have, the more conflicts you have between them, and the less efficiency you get to your business. So it costs more to have more workers, things like that. There's also small and large organizations. We close the topic on economies and diseconomies of scale. There are small and large organizations. Small organizations are the small businesses, and large organizations are the big and established businesses. There are a lot of things that can be measured by. I'm just gonna measure some. I'm just gonna mention some of them, which is market share, size of workforce, capital, profit, etc. Like the network. You normally can tell just by looking at it, or if you know the brand, it's probably a big brand. Or if you know the brand is a small brand, you probably do know that it's a small brand. And you normally see it. You don't think of McDonald's as a small business, but you do think of, I don't know, some taco restaurant that's at your block but has no other restaurants. That's a small business. Or your mom that has a business selling, I don't know, cupcakes. That's a small business too, because you're not seeing it globalized. You don't see have a lot of income. Things like that can determine whether an organization is good or bad. There are advantages and disadvantages. I don't want to list them all because I don't see it as logical to actually learn them by memory. But it's things like brand recognition that gives you benefits for being a big brand. Sorry, I mean a big organization. Loyalty for customers. You can maybe, if you're selling like an elite product, you can put the price that you want, and you have no competition if you're that big. But when you're small, you have more risk of failing. You cannot do whatever you want with prices. You don't have a lot of money to support your expenses, things like that. You have to actually win the customer. It's a lot like social media. Big established influencers have less to do than small influencers that actually have to drive their way through the ocean that is social media. Um, and yeah, that's basically large and small businesses, large, big and small organizations. There's also growth. Growth is very important in businesses because that's how you get to a point where you're small or big. Um, I'm just gonna basically summarize it, like ultra summarize growing methods, which can be as economies of scale and diseconomies of scale, internal growth, external growth. Internal, you know it, inside of the business and in the control of the business. External, you don't control it, and it's outside of the business. Like, yeah, outside of the business, just external. Um, in the external growth, well, in their internal growth, it's called organic growth. Organic growth is within you. You decide to grow. You do things inside of your business to provide growth, something normal. But external growth, I like to see it a lot as social media. You have to go with other people. You have to try and merge with other social media channels. Maybe do a collab, or in music where artists work together. And you have things like mergers and acquisitions, which are kind of the same, joint ventures, and strategic alliance. You also have franchising as a growth method, but it's different. Okay, different. Um, an example of organic growth will be marketing. A good marketing campaign can give you a very good effect in the internal side. But let's talk about external growth. External growth, well, mergers and acquisitions. Takeovers is basically when it is on force. I think I believe that takeover works for merger and acquisitions. It's just when it's on force, when like it's forcefully somebody actually like, hey, here you go, here's the money, give me your business. Merger and acquisitions are a little bit more planned, more okay, mutual benefit somehow. Takeover just take it as the root part of the mergers and acquisitions. Mergers are two companies create another, and acquisitions is a big one, like eats the small one, and that's pretty cool. Like Google ate YouTube, Disney ate Pixar, but then you see things like, I don't know. I'm seeing the example here. Da Daimler Chrysler. I'm sorry, I didn't pronounce that properly. Daimler Chrysler, Mercedes Benz, and Chrysler, I think, merged and made a new one. So there was not like one who prevailed. It's normally to make one new. Like imagine two clashing and then a new one emerges. And then acquisition is more like a big one just gets a small one or another one, and and still is that big one. It doesn't change. Acquisition, it's a big one just gets another one, and maybe takes it as a sub department like Disney with Pixar. A takeover is more, as I said, a little bit more of a forceful merge of acquisition. Um, there's types of integration. There's horizontal integration, which it's for companies that are in the same industry. They operate in the same industry. Imagine that Nike got Adidas. That will be horizontal integration. Vertical integration, it's when they're in different stage of production. Imagine a production of a restaurant, which the restaurant gets from the manufacturer. Then from the manufacturer, it gets to, well, the raw materials, then to the manufacturer, then to the restaurant, then to the consumer. Imagine the restaurant bought somebody who collected the ingredients to send them to a manufacturer. Well, it's kind of in the line of production. That's why it's called vertical. Well, vertical. So from the start to finish of a product, something related into one of those stages. That's vertical integration. There can be backwards vertical integration, which will mean to earlier stage of production, and forward vertical integration, which will be a little bit more here. So backwards is towards the early stages of the product, forward towards the ending stages of the product. Pretty easy, I think. Then there's also lateral integration, which they have. It's for businesses that are in the same kind of market, but they are not directly competitions. Imagine that. Um, I don't know. Imagine that a brand, a very Apple. Imagine that Apple bought another one that makes phones, another business that makes phones, but they're cheap phones. So Apple is normally known for luxury phones, and then they buy a business that sells cheap phones. It is kind of in the same phone market, but it is yet not in the same like competition. Apple will have never directly competed with a brand that sells budget phones because it's not what they compete towards. But it's kind of in the same market. And finally, there's conglomerate integration, which it's things that don't actually make sense. Example: such as a sausage company and an internet company get together, and wow, what does it have to do? Nothing. But somehow they managed to do it. Somehow they still a mutual benefit, and that's cool. And that is on integrations. And the next form of evolution or expanding can be joint ventures. Joint ventures are when two or more businesses split cost on a product. There is no need of a new organization. It is just like a collab between brands, but they create a bigger product that they both want to create. But I don't know, maybe they want to create a TV, and there's Apple who gets in electronics. There's also Panasonic, which already is in the TV market. So they get together, they make an Apple Panasonic TV, and it's super cool. That's a joint venture. Um, and you already get like the benefit of reputation from those joint ventures. So that's something really cool. There's also strategic alliances, which is like, well, strategic alliances are more like no mutual benefit, like actual, like there's no new thing created. um I don't know, there's just like, I help you, you help me. um I guess it's just the like, they like organizations remain independent, but they have like something, maybe Barnes and Nobles and I think Cheesecake Factory or Starbucks, they don't earn anything apart from, I let you have a Starbucks in Barnes and Nobles, and Starbucks attracts customers to Barnes and Nobles, and we both get separate benefits. But in a way, those benefits would have only come if we had allied together in strategic alliance. Nothing formal, no new organizations. It's just you help me, I help you. Finally, there's franchising. Franchising, remember the franchisor and the franchisee. Franchisee who buys the franchise, franchisor who owns the franchise. Basically, you have to add royalty. It normally works with restaurants. You buy a license to set that business or that branch of a business in another place, such as McDonald's, RVs, Chick-fil-A, which is pretty popular. Um, and yeah, Now we're gonna switch up to growth and globalizations. I'm sorry if it gets a little boring. Remember that we're seeing a lot of topics at once. I'm seeing the ones that I'm learning in my presentations. So if you want to pause the video, just get into the knowledge you have just learned, go ahead. I invite you to do that. And there's a lot of information here, and this is over summarized, like over summarized. So if I'm going too fast, that's literally the point. If you can get through like with me, you have no rush. Okay, it's okay. You can stay here. You can comprehend what I'm saying. Even I sometimes struggle, but yeah, I remember that I'm looking there. I'm looking at a presentation. I say this every video. I look at my visual aid because I'm not able to learn this by memory, sadly. So let's talk about growth and globalization. Globalization is basically, well, you can define it as growing towards all nations, like going global, globalization. Globalization, it's very, it has opportunities and threats. Some of the threats are like there's more competitors. Maybe there's a business that has no competitors in Switzerland, but once it moves to the United States, it's like, oh my God, there's a lot of phone providers in the United States, and I was the only phone provider in Switzerland. There's gonna be trouble. How am I gonna be able to compete? How am I gonna be able to do that extra step towards being actually chosen by people in the United States? There is also demands, cultural demands. Um, as we saw before, economies and diseconomies of scale. It depends on where you are. Um, the place where you develop a business really is going to affect how you develop it. We saw this already. We're gonna keep seeing it in business. It is very, very imperative to know where you're developing, to know what are you doing, and to know if you're doing things properly to develop your business in a new place. That's why you normally do the analysis and stuff before you actually take the big choices. There are many opportunities on globalization. You can get to any country you'd like, as long as you know that you are going to be able to develop in that place. A multinational company is an organization that operates in two or more countries. Something a lot of people wish to become a multinational company, like you're kind of globally recognized, like at least in two or more countries. You have more customers, but you also have a lot of problem with reputation. So yeah, that is globalization and worth and growth. There's not a lot of terms I think that should be listed. Mainly benefits and opportunities and threats inside of switching location of your business. Very important to do an analysis. We saw analysis before. Um, Maybe see what other people have done in that place to develop past experiences of business that are similar to yours. Watch what competitors are doing, see your interests, see the external environment with steeple analysis, whatever you like to do. Just if you're ever going to expand to become multinational, just global, in general, well, you gotta do your studies. You gotta be sure that your decisions are not going to have a negative impact in your business. And that is all. Thank you for watching. Remember, if you liked it, leave a like in the video. Comment if you have any doubts about the subject or any subject at all. Remember that I'm not planning on doing a lot of videos on everything. Mostly business. I think it's the one that's gonna have the most videos because I think it's the one that I can talk about the most. Things like physics is gonna have little videos. Um, Things like coding. Also, I'm not gonna have a lot of videos. Probably just one. Math, of course, only one. And the ones normal IB subjects like theory of knowledge, CAS, which is creativity, activity, and service. Yes, and my investigation class, which is the one where I make my extended essay. Well, all of those are just gonna probably have one video, which I'm gonna be talking about how I feel about them, tips and tricks, I guess, that I have developed along the day, and yeah, along the year or semester by now. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and remember that in vacations, if I get the chance, and somehow this channel blows up, I will try to maybe comply with anybody's doubts. If I see a doubt like popping up a lot or somebody that has a very important doubt, I probably will make a video about it. So yeah, thank you. Bye.